Do you often feel like you are missing out? Do you ever wonder, am I doing the right thing? Do you find yourself irritable, frustrated, or stressed out? Prozentivus can help. I am not advocating that you take prescription drugs if you feel this way about investing. Instead, I'd like to review 5 investment choices out there and dabble in what the outcome might look like if you put your financial fate in any of them. Let's get to it. Number 1, savings or money market accounts. A safe place to park your money. FDIC insured up to $250,000 if the bank goes under. Pays interest, but it varies depending on the current interest rate environment. Might not be a great place for long-term growth or keeping up with inflation. Can be a good place for emergency savings and money you will need in the short term. Number 2, certificates of deposit or a CD account. You give up access to your money for a period of time to lock in an interest rate here. These periods of time can vary. If you access your money early, you pay a penalty. CDs are typically not great long-term solutions. They can be a good solution if you know you won't need your money for a period of time and are looking for some guaranteed interest. Number 3, bonds. Bonds are loans to the federal government, a municipality, or a corporation. You buy a bond, give them your money. They typically guarantee to pay you a fixed interest rate for the term or length of the loan. The term of the loan, aka maturity date of the bond, can vary. On the maturity date, you receive your money back. The longer the length generally means the higher the interest they will pay. Treasury bonds or treasuries are loans to the federal government. Treasury bills are less than 1 year. Treasury notes are 2 to 10 years. Treasury bonds are 10 plus years. Bills, notes, bonds, just call them all treasuries. These are the most secure types of bonds because they are backed by the U.S. government. Municipal bonds are loans to states, cities, or counties and other local government entities. If you want to sound cool, you call them munis. Certain people like munis because the interest earned is generally tax-free on the federal level and can be tax-free on the state level as well. Munis tend to pay less because of the tax-free interest offered. If you are in a high tax bracket, these might be a good option. Notice how I said munis 2 more times after saying it was cool. It's because I am. So cool. Corporate bonds are loans to corporations. Maturities can be short-term, less than 3 years, medium-term, 4 to 10 years, or long-term, more than 10 years. Credit rating agencies assign credit ratings based on their evaluation of the risk any company might have to default on its bonds. Lower credit rating means higher risk of default, which typically means higher interest will be paid. The opposite is true for higher credit rated, lower risk corporate bonds. Bonds trade on a public market. What in the world does that mean? Unlike a CD where your money is locked up for a period of time to avoid penalty, with a bond, you can get access to your money at any time without penalty by selling your bond on the market. It's true, no penalties. But the value of your bond can go up or down depending on the current interest rate environment, among other factors. Let's assume you bought a bond for $10,000 that will pay an annual 3% on your money for 10 years. At the end of the 10 years, you will get your $10,000 back. 2 years into owning this bond, you have a need for the money now. You go to sell your bond on the public market, but it's only worth $9,000. Why? What happened? Over that 2 years, the Federal Reserve decided to raise the federal funds rate. I don't have time to explain why they would do this or what the federal funds rate even is, but I did include a few links in the description below if you are a financial nerd and would like to learn more. For purposes of right now, all you need to know is when the Federal Reserve raises the federal funds rate, it tends to raise rates across the economy. Mortgage rates, car loans, rates paid out in a money market, on a CD, and rates paid out on bonds. If new 10-year bonds are now paying 5%, why would anyone want to buy your bond paying at 3%? They wouldn't, unless you sell it to them at a discount. Now remember, the same can happen in the other direction. If rates drop, your bond would then become more valuable. Number 4, stocks. When you buy a stock, you are buying equity or ownership in that company. When you buy a corporate bond, you do not own equity in that company. You receive only the interest and principal on the bond, no matter how profitable the company becomes or how high its stock price climbs. Bonds are limited, but more secure. Stocks are not limitless, but have a much higher likelihood of growth potential and carry more risk. You are a lender when you buy a bond. You are an owner when you buy a stock. There are many ways to buy stocks. You can buy individual stocks. You can buy funds that own many stocks. You can borrow money to purchase stocks, often referred to as buying on margin or using leverage. You can buy them in a brokerage account, within a retirement account like a 401k or Roth IRA, or be granted them if you work at a company that is publicly traded. There also exists option contracts that you can invest in. They derive their value from stock prices and the direction they go. Creating a game plan. Now, some people trade stocks daily, others monthly, while still others buy and hold for longer periods of time. The share price of a stock or a stock itself might be great for someone and not for someone else. It all depends on your circumstance and the approach you are taking. It is important you put together a game plan and do your best to take the emotion out of your investment experience with stocks. A large degree of your success will rest on your ability to remain unemotional and disciplined. Number 5, real estate. Real estate is defined as property consisting of land and buildings and the legal and economic interests associated with it. Said like a normal person, it can be a building you own where people live or work or store things or shop or make things. It can also be land. The value of your real estate can increase over time. You can also charge people to use it. Win-win. Well, what if the value goes down like house values in 2008? What if people stop using the office building you own because employees start working from home? What if a renter decides not to pay you? These are some of the risks associated with real estate. Now, many people have real estate because of leverage. You take $20,000 and invest it into something that earns 10% over a year, you now have $22,000. Very neat. What if you took that $20,000 and used it as a down payment on a condo that was worth $200,000? The other $180,000 you borrowed through a mortgage. You intend to cover the mortgage payment with the rent income you will receive by renting the condo out. Let's say that townhome increases 10% in value over the year. You now have an asset worth $220,000. This is wonderful. With leverage, you doubled your $20,000 investment. Leverage can be powerful. Just be careful of overextending yourself. What if the value of your townhome drops 20% over that year to $160,000? You now owe $180,000 on a condo that is only worth $160,000. It's not always sunshine and daisies. But still, if you leverage responsibly, you can hopefully manage any future risk. Many also love real estate because of the potential tax savings. When you buy a physical item like a car or hiking boots or a building, they wear down over time. Said in a more sophisticated manner, they depreciate. With real estate, you are allowed to recognize this depreciation and take it as a tax deduction against any income said real estate produces. Tax-free income is what that sounds like. But no, the depreciation decreases the cost basis on your property. If you bought a condo for $200,000 and sold it for $400,000, depreciating it down to zero along the way for the tax deductions, you would recognize $400,000 of income despite buying it for that $200,000 value. So, the $1,000,000 question, which should you choose? Here's 2023. Cash is the blue line, bonds the green line, stocks the purple line, real estate the orange line. Looks like stocks won that year. What about 2022? Cash, that blue line, takes the top spot. 2021, orange line real estate says it's my turn to shine. How about 2020? Bonds in green did so well, despite stocks outperforming in the end. By the way, bonds were top dog in 2011, 2008, 2007, and 2002. Those years were pretty eventful in the stock and real estate markets. Here is a 22-year span from beginning of 2002 to the end of 2023. Cash is blue, bonds green, stocks purple, real estate orange. And here are some of my final thoughts. If you have more time, stocks and or real estate might be a better option for you. If you have less time, cash and bonds might make more sense. These are general rules. I work with a number of retirees who still maintain a large portion of their portfolio in stocks or real estate. There can be a whole host of reasons why this might be. One big reason, their financial plan. We know how much they plan to spend and when they plan to do it, allocating the appropriate amounts in each type of investment based on their situation. Bond values have dropped off quite dramatically over the past 2 years, bringing their annualized return down to 3.44% over this time period. Why? One big reason, the Federal Reserve has raised the federal funds rate quite aggressively to fight inflation, among other things. Look what bonds have done if I exclude the last 2 years of them being repriced down. Annualized return is 4.43% or about 1% higher. That's more like it in contrast to cash. Also remember what bond values typically do when interest rates go back down. They go up. Lastly, I think it wise to diversify your wealth. Don't concentrate too heavily in any one of these investments out of fear, cash or CDs, or out of greed, stocks or real estate. You can lose with either extreme. Until next time. Municipal bonds are loans to states Lower credit mating. No, you can buy them in a brokerage account with a retirement account like a 401k, you can buy them in a, oh gosh. The emotion out of your retirement experience. Emotion, I don't know what I'm doing.